Good morning. I just wanted to do something different since you're not here, and I always wanted to read to my family and basically like my mom, dad, and stuff. And since I'm doing it right now, I just took a minute. What I'm about to read is something inspirational and what motivated me, and it's something positive. So I wanted to share with you. It actually made me cry because I love this person because she was brave, and I saw that courage in other people like you and my father. Like my father used to walk, our dad used to walk when his truck broke down from places to get home, sometimes when he couldn't get a ride. And I remember that one time, that story you told me when we went to Woodson together, you had to walk from Woodson to come home. So I don't know how much miles that is yet. I mean, we used to walk when we were small from Evelyn to come home, so that's no big deal. But the walks that you guys did was something similar to this person. So the name of the book is called 100 Extraordinary Stories of Prayer for Courageous Girls Like Myself. It's a kid's book, but I am learning how to build faith. And, you know, I learn from kid stuff because my mind is still a kid sometimes. And then go to the adult version to see how the difference is. Anyway, so I want to read to you a chapter. There's different women here who had gifts and were protected by God and did some extraordinary stuff. Like this person, her name is Mary Jones, right? She was born in 1784. I have no idea what that era was like, you know, or what it looked like, but this book, it gave an idea of what it was. So, right? She was born in 1784 and died in 1864. When she died, she was only 80 years old. Our dad is about to make 83. We're lucky to have him alive still. This young lady, she died at 80. And when you look at the time to how many years that was compared to now, that's 241 years ago. Wow. Yeah. So it's called Mary's Long Walk. That's supposed to be a drawing of her, right? Oh, no, I'll find it. Okay. Mary's Long Walk. Mary Jones lived in a cottage that was made from stone in a Welsh countryside. Green grass was everywhere. In the distance, she could see the sea. It all looked really beautiful, very pleasant, but Mary Jones and her mom were very poor. They had to work every single day really hard just to get by. Back then, there were absolutely no cars like what we have now. They didn't have the luxury that we did. So most people had to travel from vehicles or transports that were pulled by animals, like donkeys, horses, or by walking just to get to their everyday destination, right? So this is what inspired me to exercise, to just ride my bike to Plaza. This is what gave me that push, and I'm happy for it, right? So every Sunday, Mary and her mom had to walk 1.5 miles just to go to church. Mary loved hearing Bible stories. She loved hearing people read stories about God, and it gave her so much joy. But she didn't know how to read. So one day she prayed and asked God to help her learn how to read. She prayed every single day and asked God to please help me learn how to read. And the reason why she did was because she wanted to read the Bible herself. That way God could hear her lovely voice and she could read, right? So when she, when her prayers were answered and she finally learned how to read, she decided, you know what? I'm gonna get a Bible of my own. But back then, they were really, really poor, and it was really hard for her to get a Bible. So she decided to do little jobs for people and then to save that money that she earned just to get a Bible. Can you imagine that? How much, what she did. Now listen to this. This is the part where I say, can you imagine this? So she worked back then 6 years, just to save to buy a Bible. Can you imagine that? Working 6 years just to save that amount of money to buy a Bible, a book, you know? Imagine like what we're doing right now. We're saving money to buy other things, to buy a house, a car. But she had to do that for 6 years just to get a Bible. So you can imagine how hard it was back then for these people compared to what we have right now, you know, which is a blessing, right? So, continuing the story. So, when she finally was able to save the money, and she worked 6 years to save enough money for a Bible, she went out to buy one in her village, but there wasn't any available, and none of them were for sale. So the nearest place that this young lady had to go to was located 26 miles away from where she lived, right? Now, just so you could get a better picture of what 26 miles looks like, my bike ride from our house to Plaza East is just 8 miles, right, to get there. And it takes 8 more miles to come back home. Now, this young lady had to walk 26 miles just to get there. And then she had to walk another 26 miles to get home. So you can imagine how far that is. And 26 miles, I was looking it up what that looks like, because that way I couldn't understand, is actually like me taking my bike or our car from our house to go all the way to Pointe-Trudel, okay, the end of St. Croix. I never been there. I would like to go there. To Pointe-Trudel, and probably a little more areas just to get 26 miles, and then to come back here. So if you see what that looks like, I'm imagining what it was like for her, because I know my bike ride was tough. So wow. Okay, so she had to travel 26 miles now to get a Bible. So you know what she did? She went for it. So Mary took a walk, a very long one at that. But when she arrived at the home of the Reverend Thomas Charles, who was selling the Bible, he only had one left, right? And that same one that he had left was actually promised for someone else. But the pastor, the Reverend, he had a change of heart when he heard her story. You see how God works miracles? So when he heard her story and found out how long she traveled, like she actually walked 26 miles just to get this Bible, he changed his mind and he gave her that Bible. Now, her story doesn't just end there. It sparked a flame in the Reverend's heart. He saw how difficult it was, and he wanted other people to have access to a Bible. So he started a Bible society, a group that was willing to translate the Bible into many different languages and distribute it around the world so that people can be able to read it and have access to it and learn about God, the miracles he's done, and that God is still in the world, right? So his Bible society still exists to this day. And it's all thanks to a lovely little girl named Mary Jones. This girl, and it's thanks to her that we have access to different kinds of Bibles, Bibles that has pictures, Bibles that doesn't have pictures, you know, and it's all thanks to this one move. How far would you be willing to go or to walk to accomplish your dreams, to get a Bible, to believe in God, you know, for love and all of these things? How far are you willing to go? Just hearing this story, anytime I feel down, I feel like it could bring me up. So thank you for listening, and I'm happy I was able to share this with you. Love you. Bye.